If you're approaching retirement, chances are you know the 4% rule. Withdraw 4% of your portfolio in year one, then adjust for inflation annually. It sounds simple enough and gives you a clear savings target, but applying this rule too rigidly could actually mean working years longer than necessary or missing out on meaningful experiences during your healthiest retirement years. My name is Patrick Shope, and I'm the founder of Shope and Associates. And today, I want to show you why treating retirement like it's a static, unchanging period of your life might not be the best decision you can make. Now, I'm not here to completely trash the 4% rule. It serves as a purpose as a general guideline, especially when you're trying to figure out how much you need to save. The math is actually quite simple. If you want $60,000 per year in retirement income from your portfolio, you would need about $1.5 million saved. Just multiply your desired income by 25, and that's your target. But here's where things get complicated. The 4% rule assumes your retirement income needs are going to be exactly the same in year one as they are in year 20. It assumes you'll need the same amount of money when you're age 65 as when you're age 85. And frankly, that's just not how retirement actually works. Let's talk about income first. Your income sources in retirement are going to be all over the map, especially in those early years. Maybe you retire at age 62, but you decide not to collect Social Security until age 67. That's 5 full years where your portfolio needs to carry a much heavier load. Then, when Social Security kicks in, suddenly you need much less from your portfolio to maintain the same lifestyle. Or maybe you're planning to do some part time work in your early retirement years. That income might last 3 years, it might last 7 years. These aren't variables you can predict with precision when you're calculating a fixed withdrawal rate. I've seen people get so locked into the 4% rule that they don't account for these income fluctuations. They calculate their needs as if they'll need the full amount from day one, which often means they think they'll need to save more than they actually do, or maybe wind up working longer than they actually need to. The expense side is just as dynamic. Early retirement often brings increased spending in those first few years. That newfound time, you might travel more, pursue expensive hobbies, maybe even tackle some home projects you've been delaying. These early retirement years can actually be your highest spending period. But then things shift. Maybe around age 75 or 80, you're not traveling as much. Your entertainment budget might go down, but your healthcare cost might be going up. Those doctor visits that used to happen once a year may be happening much more often. Here's an example of how this could play out. Let's imagine a couple, Bob and Susan, who retire at age 62 with $1.2 million saved. Using the 4% rule, that gives them $48,000 in the first year, adjusted for inflation thereafter. But Bob and Susan's reality looks nothing like that neat calculation. In years 1 through 5, before Social Security actually kicks in, their total living expenses are maybe $75,000, with $10,000 coming from a small part time gig. They actually need about $65,000 per year from their portfolio. Then from years 6 through 15, when they're actually collecting Social Security but still active, they may need about $35,000 per year from their portfolio. Later in retirement, they might need $45,000 per year as their health care and other costs rise. See, if Bob and Susan stick rigidly to the 4% rule, they're either going to be withdrawing way too little money in their early, most active years, potentially missing out on experiences they never get back, or they're going to think that they need to save much more than they actually do. This kind of planning could create some real problems. I've seen people work 2, sometimes 3 years extra, because they were focused on hitting some arbitrary savings target when they could have actually retired earlier and adjusted their withdrawals based on their actual needs over time. Even worse, I've seen retirees sitting on plenty of money, but afraid to spend it because they're locked into this idea that they can only safely withdraw their calculated amount each and every year. They're wealthy on paper, but they're living like they're broke. So, what's the alternative? Instead of thinking about retirement as a single, unchanging phase of life, we need to think about it as different seasons, each with its own income sources and spending patterns. A more flexible approach might look something like this. In those early retirement years, when you're healthiest, you're most active, but you don't yet have Social Security coming in yet, you might withdraw 5%, maybe even 6% from your portfolio. You're essentially borrowing from your future self, knowing that once Social Security kicks in, you can dial that withdrawal rate back down to maybe 2 or 3%. This isn't reckless spending, it's strategic planning that acknowledges how retirement actually works. Let me show you how this works with Bob and Susan. In a flexible approach, they might withdraw $65,000 in year one. That's about 5.4%. Sounds kind of scary compared to the 4% rule, right? But this higher withdrawal is temporary. When Social Security starts in year six, their combined benefits might equal $35,000 per year. Now they only need $30,000 from their portfolio to maintain their $65,000 lifestyle. That's only 2.5% of their portfolio, assuming modest growth over those 5 years. This approach recognizes that retirement income planning isn't just about your portfolio. It's about coordinating all of your income sources and timing them strategically. The benefits go beyond just the math. When you plan for how retirement actually unfolds, you feel more confident about your decisions. You're not constantly second guessing whether you can afford that trip or home improvement project. You know you've planned for these different phases so you can actually enjoy the money you've worked so hard to save. You're also more likely to make smart decisions about when to retire. Instead of working until you hit some magic number, you can look at your specific situation, when your Social Security starts, your healthcare coverage options, what you might want to do in early retirement, and make a decision that actually makes sense for you. Now, I want to be clear. This flexible approach requires more planning than just following the 4% rule. You need to reassess your situation regularly, especially in those early retirement years when things are changing quickly. And you need to be honest about your spending patterns and realistic about your future needs. But here's what I've found: people who take the more nuanced approach tend to be much more satisfied with their retirement experience. They're not constantly worried about money, but they're also not missing out on opportunities because they're being unnecessarily conservative. The key insight is that retirement isn't a single event that happens on your 65th birthday. It's a process that unfolds over potentially 30 or more years. Your income sources will change. Your expenses will change. Your priorities will change. And your withdrawal strategy should change right along with them. If you're currently using the 4% rule as your only planning tool, I would encourage you to dig deeper. Look at when your different income sources will start. Think about how your spending might evolve through different phases of your retirement. And consider what you really want to do in those early years, those healthy years. This kind of planning isn't just about making your money last, it's about making sure that you actually get to enjoy the retirement you've been saving for. Because what's the point of having a portfolio that lasts 40 years if you're too afraid to use it for the things that matter to you? If you want to explore more about creating a retirement income strategy that actually fits your situation, Be sure to check out our other videos on retirement planning strategies. And if you're ready to move beyond a one size fits all, rules kind of based planning, and create a plan that's built for your specific goals and timelines, visit our website to learn more about how we help people transition into retirement with confidence. Just remember, retirement planning isn't about following someone else's formula. It's about creating a strategy that lets you live the retirement you actually want. Again, this is Patrick Shope. If you like this content and want to ensure you don't miss out on future retirement insights, like this video and subscribe to our channel. Wishing you a stress-free retirement. I'll see you in the next one.